Tyler Hastings never considered himself unusual. He was a typical 17-year-old boy living in the sleepy suburbs of Maplewood, New Jersey. His days were filled with basketball practices, late-night gaming with friends, and the occasional awkward attempts at talking to girls. But beneath that normal teenage life was a restless curiosity he couldn't explain. It started small, watching how effortlessly his female classmates carried themselves, how their clothes seemed lighter, brighter, freer. He never spoke about it. He didn't dare. One rainy Saturday afternoon, Tyler was helping his mom, Lorraine, clean out the attic. Among boxes of old yearbooks and holiday decorations, Lorraine pulled out a garment bag wrapped in plastic. With a wistful smile, she unzipped it. Inside was a pale lavender dress, flowing with soft chiffon, the kind of thing that shimmered even in the dim attic light. "This was your Aunt Clarissa's," Lorraine said, her voice carrying both nostalgia and mischief. "She wore it once to a gala and never again." Such a waste. Tyler laughed nervously, trying to brush off the way the fabric seemed to call to him. But Lorraine wasn't done. She draped the dress against his chest, tilting her head. "You know," she teased, "if I squint, you could almost pass for Clarissa at your age." "Mom!" Tyler protested, swatting it away, though his cheeks flushed crimson. Lorraine chuckled and hung the dress back up. But the seed had been planted. That evening, Tyler couldn't get the dress out of his mind. He thought about how light it must feel, how different from the heavy jeans and hoodies he wore daily. Then came the thought that truly unsettled him: what if I actually tried it on? The next week, fate, or maybe temptation, gave him the chance. His mother was heading out for a late shift at the hospital, leaving Tyler alone. The dress was still in the attic. At first, he told himself it was just a joke. Just curiosity. No one would ever know. He slipped it out of its bag, pulled it carefully over his head, and froze when he saw himself in the mirror. The boy staring back was gone. In his place stood something softer, unfamiliar, and yet, strangely right. His heart thundered. "Tyler?" His stomach dropped. His mother's voice echoed from the hallway. She had come home early. Panicked, Tyler scrambled to pull the dress off, but it snagged on his shoulder. Before he could free himself, the door creaked open. Lorraine stood there, frozen. Her eyes widened, taking in the sight of her son in a lavender gown. The silence was unbearable. Then, to Tyler's shock, Lorraine's lips curled into a slow smile. "Well," she said softly, "you look beautiful." Tyler's face burned hot. "Mom, I was just..." Lorraine stepped forward, her voice low but warm. "Shoo. You don't have to explain. I've always wondered what it might be like to have a daughter. Maybe this is our little secret." Her words weren't mocking. They weren't angry. They carried something else, something almost excited. Tyler swallowed hard. He had expected shame, maybe fury. Instead, he felt something terrifyingly different. Permission. And with that, a dangerous, thrilling possibility unfolded before him. The silence between them stretched, broken only by the faint hum of the attic's old light bulb. Tyler stood trembling, half in and half out of the lavender dress, wishing he could vanish. But Lorraine's expression wasn't one of disappointment. It was something else, a strange blend of mischief, tenderness, and a spark of possibility. "Relax," she said at last, crossing the room. She tugged the fabric from his shoulder and smoothed it down so it rested properly against his frame. "If you're going to wear a gown, at least wear it right." Tyler blinked, stunned. "You're not mad?" "Mad?" Lorraine chuckled. "Honey, I spent years dressing dolls and secretly wishing for a daughter. And here you are, looking more convincing than I ever imagined." Her words hit him like a jolt. Convincing. That meant she wasn't just humoring him. She actually believed what she saw. Tyler's throat went dry. "It was just curiosity, Mom. It's not like..." Lorraine raised a hand to stop him. "You don't need to explain." But tell me this, would you like me to show you how far we could take it? Not just slipping on a dress, but the whole picture. Makeup. Hair. Shoes. The works. Tyler's heart raced. The sensible answer was no. He should laugh it off, retreat to his hoodie and sneaker comfort zone. But something in his chest pulsed with dangerous excitement. What do you mean? He whispered. Her eyes gleamed. I mean, let me make you into my daughter for a day. One day. Just for fun. No one has to know. Tyler hesitated, chewing his lip. The idea was insane. Risky. But the thought of seeing himself transformed completely was magnetic. Okay, he murmured before he could stop himself. The next morning, Lorraine was already in motion. She was up early, rummaging through closets and drawers. When Tyler shuffled into the kitchen in sweatpants, she slid a steaming mug of cocoa toward him with a knowing smile. Drink up, sweetheart. You'll need your energy. He raised an eyebrow. Mom, this is just a joke, right? Maybe, she said airily. Or maybe it's a memory we'll never forget. After breakfast, she guided him upstairs. On her bed lay a careful arrangement, a soft blouse, a knee-length skirt, a pair of stockings, and a set of modest low-heeled shoes. Nothing extravagant, yet. Tyler stared. You actually planned this? Of course, Lorraine replied. If we're doing this, we're doing it properly. She started with his hair, brushing it out and pinning it back in soft waves. Tyler squirmed and used to the gentle tugging. Hold still, Emily, she said absently. Emily? Her smile widened. That's the name your father and I picked in case you'd been a girl. Seems fitting, don't you think? Tyler's chest tightened. Emily. The word lingered in the air, both foreign and strangely natural. Next came the makeup. Lorraine moved with surprising skill, foundation, a dusting of blush, the careful sweep of eyeliner. Each brushstroke chipped away at Tyler's old self and revealed someone new. When she finally handed him a mirror, his jaw dropped. The boyish features he had lived with his whole life were softened, reshaped into something delicate. Not flawless, but enough to make his pulse hammer. He didn't look like Tyler in a dress. He looked like Emily. Lorraine clasped her hands together, visibly delighted. You're beautiful. My beautiful daughter. Mom, Tyler whispered, caught between awe and panic. She tilted her head. Why don't we test it properly? Just for an hour. A walk around the neighborhood. No one will know, it'll be like a game. Tyler's stomach lurched. Going outside like this? Exposed? But deep down, another feeling bubbled, a reckless urge to see if he could pull it off. And that was the moment he realized this wasn't just dress up anymore. This was a dare with no easy way back. Emily's pulse drummed in her ears as she stood by the front door, clutching the strap of the small shoulder bag her mother had insisted she carry. Every part of her screamed to run back upstairs, scrub off the makeup, and bury herself in a hoodie. But Lorraine's voice was calm, almost playful. Deep breaths, sweetheart. No one's going to question a girl walking with her mother. You'll see. Emily adjusted the skirt, the silky fabric brushing her legs in a way that still startled her. Mom, if anyone notices. They won't. Lorraine winked. Because you look the part. With that, she opened the door. The spring air rushed in, cool against Emily's stockinged legs. She hesitated on the threshold. It was just their quiet street, but today it felt like a stage. Go on, Lorraine urged. Emily stepped out, her heels clicking softly against the driveway. Every sound seemed amplified. The swish of her skirt, the rhythm of her footsteps, the faint perfume her mother had dabbed on her wrists, it was all impossibly loud. Yet as they began walking, no one pointed. No one stared. The world kept moving as if she really belonged. halfway down the block, a figure appeared, Mrs. Donnelly, their chatty neighbor, returning from the grocery store with 2 heavy bags. Emily's stomach dropped. Mrs. Donnelly was notorious for gossiping. If she so much as raised an eyebrow, the whole street would know by dinner. "Lorraine!" Mrs. Donnelly called cheerfully, her gaze flicking to Emily. "And who's this lovely young lady?" Emily froze. Lorraine didn't miss a beat. She tightened her grip on Emily's arm, smiling smoothly. "This is my niece, Emily. She's visiting for the week." Mrs. Donnelly's eyes narrowed for the briefest second, then softened. "Well, isn't she adorable? Such poise. You must get it from your mother's side." Emily forced a shaky smile, her cheeks burning. Thank you," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Donnelly nodded approvingly and waddled on, none the wiser. When she was out of earshot, Emily let out the breath she'd been holding. "Mom! That was so close!" Lorraine grinned. "And yet, you fooled her completely. See? You're more convincing than you think." They continued toward the town square, where a few shops and cafes lined the street. Emily's nerves had eased slightly, but then, another test. A group of teenage boys, about her age, lounged near the cafe patio, laughing too loudly, tossing a basketball between them. Emily's heart leapt into her throat. These were the type of boys who would normally high-five her in gym class or shove her toward the hoop during practice. If even one of them recognized her, she was finished. But as they walked past, something shocking happened. One of the boys, tall, confident, the kind who always drew attention, whistled softly under his breath. "Hey," he called with a grin, eyes locked on Emily. "Looking good." The others laughed and nudged him, but none of them looked suspicious. They just saw a girl. Emily's face went crimson. She ducked her head, hurrying past, but inside a strange, electric thrill coursed through her. He had noticed her, as a girl. They stopped at a small boutique window, Lorraine pretending to admire the dresses inside. She leaned closer, her voice low and teasing. "Told you. You've got them fooled. And if you can pass here, you can pass anywhere." Emily swallowed hard, her nerves tangled with exhilaration. "Anywhere?" Her mother's eyes sparkled. "Why not? We could try a shop. Maybe even buy you something of your own." Emily's stomach flipped. Walking the street was one thing. But stepping into a store, interacting with strangers, standing under their scrutiny, that was another level entirely. Yet, staring at her reflection in the glass, soft hair, delicate makeup, the skirt swishing around her legs, she wondered if she was ready for the challenge. And part of her, the part she was only beginning to admit existed, whispered, yes. Emily's palms were damp as she stood outside the glass storefront. The mannequins wore pastel spring dresses, their skirts floating as though caught in a permanent breeze. Inside, racks of clothes gleamed under soft lighting, and the faint sound of music spilled out. It looked harmless. Ordinary. But to Emily, it was terrifying. "Mom," she whispered, tugging at Lorraine's sleeve. "What if someone realizes?" Lorraine's smile was calm, encouraging. "Sweetheart, they won't. You look exactly like every other girl in there. Remember Mrs. Donnelly? Remember those boys?" No one questioned a thing. Emily hesitated, staring at her reflection in the glass. For a moment, she didn't see Tyler at all, only Emily, shy but pretty, standing beside her mother. Before she could protest again, Lorraine opened the door. A bell chimed, and they stepped inside. The boutique was warmer than outside, with the faint scent of perfume mingling with fabric. A sales assistant, a woman in her 20s with a sharp bob haircut, looked up from behind the counter. Her eyes landed on Emily, and for a split second, Emily thought she saw suspicion. Her stomach twisted. But then the woman smiled warmly. "Welcome, ladies. Looking for anything in particular today?" Lorraine didn't hesitate. "Just browsing for my niece." She's visiting us for the week and I thought we'd spoil her with something nice. The assistant's gaze softened even more. Well, you've come to the right place. What kind of style do you like, dear? Emily froze. Her throat tightened. Words wouldn't come. She's a little shy, Lorraine said smoothly, giving Emily's hand a gentle squeeze. But I think she'd look lovely in something light and playful. Maybe for spring? Minutes later, Emily found herself in a small dressing cubicle, the curtain drawn, holding a soft peach-colored dress in trembling hands. The fabric shimmered faintly, and when she lifted it to her body, her heart skipped. This is crazy, she whispered. But she slipped it on anyway. The fabric glided over her skin, hugging her in ways she didn't expect. She turned to the mirror and gasped. The color warmed her complexion, making her look brighter, softer, more real. Emily? Lorraine's voice drifted from outside. How does it fit? Emily's voice trembled. It looks good. Let me see. No. Emily squeaked, panic flaring. But Lorraine chuckled. Sweetheart, if you want to pass as my niece, you need confidence. Come on, show me.